Let's fix our chat right off the bat. And I decided to go away from the super easy books again. I wanted to do something different, and I love this book. It's one of my favorites that I have because this artist is truly incredible, and I have found her YouTube page and actually put the link in my description. So if you want to check out her incredible, incredible work, you can. I have a couple of books by her, and I love them. They are amazing. She has an incredible talent that I wish I had. But since I don't, we're just going to color the work she did and add our own flair to it. So that's what we're doing today. And I will try and save that tag and put her in my comments. Not in my comments, but in my description whenever I do these books. We get closer to the holidays. I have a holiday book by her as well. But she really does amazing work. And I'm a huge fan of the shaded pages like these because you can it's a lot easier to get the effects you see in your head without having to do all of the shading yourself, which is always a fun thing. Definitely helps. I wish I could draw even a teeny tiny bit like this. One good thing with the type of pencils I use is you can soften it up just a bit. And if you do pop in while I'm paying attention to the page, please don't take it personally. I cannot see you until I look up. Hello, Lorraine. How are we doing today? We've got a few people in today. I did actually figure something out this time around. I have the artist name in my description. She does have her own page. She's an incredible artist. Definitely go take a look at her work if you ever get a chance. I have a couple of her coloring books, and I love them. I do not have anywhere close to this level of talent to draw my own pictures. But I will happily pay for somebody else's artwork, but I'm still going to give them the credit for it because that is the right thing to do, in my opinion. But this particular book is specifically a grayscale. It's one of my favorite ways to color because you don't have to spend the crazy amount of time trying to make areas look darker and lighter to suit your mood. She did the hard work for you. But I am kind of miffed. I still have another day that I cannot get out and paint my my bird bath. It is well into the 90s out there. I did fix the oops that broke my watering can project. Wires don't mix well with weed whackers. Frustrating thing. Lesson learned. But I fixed it, so I guess that counts, right? I'm loving the way this is turning out already. I have a gold in there somewhere. Where is it? It's always a very good question. Where is the color I want? as I knock my picture over. I only have a few colored pencils to go with. And kind of glad I did that now because I found my gold. I am a hectic mess today. I have a ton of things to get done. Not a lot of time to get them done in. And then I have my weekend of working. I think I've definitely found what I will be doing for the foreseeable future when I can't get out and do my regular long forms, though. So the response to these videos, when I've actually popped up and gone live instead of doing my long form, has been incredible. I did not expect it. And if you guys like these, I might start going live when I actually am doing long form projects as well. Eventually, I might actually get to the point where I can do. This is a book. This is the artist. Her page is tagged in the description. She's incredible. I definitely encourage people to look. I definitely encourage you to look into her work. I wish I could claim it. I wish I could claim it. The amount of talent that this woman has in her pinky. I have read quite a few different stories of women with dragons. I am a huge fantasy novel person. And I believe this particular artist actually did art for some of my favorite series. I think there's a lot of things that have existed in some form or another. Like, if you look into dragons in mythology, they show up in some form or fashion in almost every single form of mythology. Were they actual fire-breathing dragons? We'll never know. But do I think that very, very large lizards that could have been mistaken as dragons could have possibly existed? Absolutely. But there's a lot of animals that show up in mythology that I think very well could have existed at some point in time. I'm not an archaeologist and I'm not a scholar on that sort of stuff. I live for mythology. If you pay attention to my page, like 70% of my pets are named after mythological people. But I wouldn't call myself an expert on it, and I definitely can't speak to who and what actually existed in reality. Oh, not at all. I look to chit chat in stuff like these, and in these lives, it gets really, really boring really, really quickly talking to myself. That red is a lot brighter than I wanted. Let's try that one. But mythology is something I thoroughly enjoy. And I think there's a reason mythology and fantasy run so close hand in hand. I still have family actually in Norway. So a lot of the things like that actually probably would be more of a fascination for me. Like I have a Loki, I have a Kratos, I have a Deimos. It's kind of funny, and it's not funny at the same time. We named one cat Deimos because he's a black rescue cat. So he was so skittish at first. We figured, the mythical embodiment of fear would be a great, fun name for him. He went blind. He is now afraid to leave one room. So the mythical embodiment of fear is terrified of everything. Loki is a mastiff mix he is chaos unintentionally. He's just very big, and he forgets that he's very big, and chaos ensues. I love cats as well. I have more than I ever intended to right at this moment, because people drop them on my property. Very rarely are dropped cats fixed. And one had kittens, and of course I got to take care of her and the babies. And once they're old enough, I'll find them homes. But I have tried writing. I would love to. I have whole worlds in my head, but the problem is I have a very, very unique, they called it a learning disability as a kid. I don't think it is, but what it is I don't think in words. I think in pictures, I think in images, I think in very weird, different ways. I don't have an interior monologue. I have interior worlds, but to try and explain them, I wouldn't have a clue. It did make school very, very, very challenging, because like when you see the word blue written, you read the word blue. When I see the word blue written, I see the color. It's challenging. But for somebody who is making her way in social media as an artist of different forms, mostly I like my yard art, but I do cartoon furniture. I'll sit and do this type of stuff. It works for me. My weird brain is something I would not trade for anything. Thank you. I cannot claim all of the credit. If you ever find somebody that does, or if you buy from this lady, grayscale coloring, pages are amazing. Like, just to show you, all of the shading is already there. You don't have to take the time to sit there and color harder or figure out complementing colors to get the shading where you want it to be. Excuse me. But I love them. I think they're fantastic. Pardon me as I go to get a drink. Well, thank you for that. If you're a dragon fan, I actually have 2 different dragons that I have in my yard currently, but I actually have video series of repairing twice, 3 times? I think twice, one of them, and a very long process of painting the other. The one that I've repaired multiple times, I've repaired it 3 times, twice on camera. It's an Asian style, and somebody broke this thing in the worst possible spot. And it has taken me quite a bit of time to figure out how to put the silly thing back together and keep it that way. I covered my pencil sharpener. Of all of the things that actually ended up working, somebody commented early on my channel when I started repairing concrete things. And they suggested JB Weld. And of all of the things to work to finally hold this dragon together, that's what worked. But that dragon is currently sitting just below and behind my watering can, which should actually be lit again tonight for the first time in a hot minute because I had to figure out how to rewire the thing, and I'm not an electrician. Excuse me there. If you hear my birds in the background, I do apologize. That is just a normal state of being in my house. I don't know that I would say I have a favorite dragon. I do enjoy them in stories, but to call a favorite would be almost impossible for me. I think Sean Connery as a dragon in Dragonheart was absolutely phenomenal and amazing. Underrated movie. But I am one of the lucky ones who grew up with parents who encouraged my imagination instead of discouraging it. So that is something I consider myself extremely lucky for. And I know it's hard to see that, but basically all I did there is add just a little bit of shimmer to those two spots. Oh, and everybody dropped out on me. Well, hopefully some of them will come back. I'm just very, very much enjoying having a good conversation today. Hello, hello, and welcome in. We are coloring works by a very talented artist. Her YouTube channel is in my description if you're interested in checking her work out. I am a huge, huge fan. I'm a huge fan of all things fantasy to begin with, and I wish I had this level of talent. Let's see. There we go. I would never have guessed I would end up with a hobby of going live coloring. Not complaining, not in the least, because, I mean, it's fun. And I very much enjoy it. But it's interesting the way things turn. My birds are just chirping their little tails off over there. Hello and welcome in. I can't see who you are, but I appreciate you being there. I hope you don't overly mind hearing the birds in the background. That's just part of life for me. I swear they chimed in when they heard me talking about them. They're a handful, but I love them. I'm just adding some color before I go over this with the green. And we're just kind of going to go loosely with the green on this part. I do see a very good purpose for this though. That little hiding trail back there. Boy, that changed the whole look of that little area, didn't it? And this is why I encourage people to try at least once coloring in a grayscale book. Because sometimes it really does make the difference. I just realized I missed a foot. I promise I'm not completely nuts as I'm over here singing to myself. You don't live with as many pets as I have and not lose a few brain cells. It just can't happen, unfortunately. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. I love my critters. Some days I like animals more than people. Honestly, most days I like animals more than people. Animals never intentionally do harm, or rarely intentionally do harm. I have cats. I know the reality of that. But they're not. There rarely are just truly bad animals. Usually there's a story behind why they are the way they are. I think there really are just people who are just not good. Not many. I think a lot of people have stories behind why they are who they are as well. But, I mean, that is probably life. I need a good brown. And I do apologize. I cannot sharpen my pencil on camera because I'm not looking to put shavings all over my picture. But I needed that at a much finer point than it was at. Because now we're going to go in and add some color to the trees. Doesn't have to be super dark, just a suggestion of color. It makes a difference. And then we'll go back and add a little bit for like the sky here and a little bit of green up this way for the tree, the leaves. And then I think we're almost done. Where is my insanely bright green? Don't need a crazy... Sorry, if you couldn't make that out, that was my bird telling me there's a baby because I'm not paying attention to them right at this second. You get used to it. They are fantastic little beings, but they are a lot to deal with sometimes. It's like having a permanent toddler for the next 20 some odd years. But I think we have reached a point where I can call it done. I am actually very happy with how this guy turned out. And it didn't take me nearly as long as I thought it was gonna. I thought this would be one of... Oh, wait. No, we're not done yet. I want just a hint of green in that eye. Why does it need to be green? I don't know. It just does. That's better. Now I can call it a day. That just changed the whole thing for some reason, that one little eye that I had missed earlier. But I am going to call it a day. I won't be back on live or long form until Monday, but I will do one or the other or possibly both. And I will talk to you guys next time.